Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to George Carlin, everyday expressions that make no sense. Rest in peace, George Carlin. This man was one of a kind. Like, his perspective, the way he tied it into comedy was so unique. The only person that I can kind of think of that is somewhat similar, maybe Bill Burr, but even then, he's still very different from George. George was very philosophical in his comedy. This bit is one of the few bits that I've not seen yet. I've seen quite a lot of his stuff before. I haven't seen this one, but I think it's going to be pretty good. Let's do it.
Now this next thing is about the English language. It's about little expressions we use. We all say, and the little sayings and expressions that we use all the time, most of us, and we never really seem to examine these expressions very carefully at all. We just sort of say these things as if they really made sense. Like, legally drunk. Well, if it's legal, what's the fucking problem? Hey.
That's a good point. Is that what police officers say when they like stop someone and like pull someone over and they give them the breathalyzer if they're over the limit? Are you legally drunk? It should be illegally drunk, shouldn't it?
Leave my friend alone, officer. He's legally drunk. You know you can stick it. Well, why do we always assume everyone knows where they can stick it? Suppose you don't know. Suppose you're a new guy. You have absolutely no idea where to stick it.
Stick it where?
I think there ought to be a government booklet entitled Where to Stick It. Now that I think of it, I believe there is a government booklet like that. They send it to you on April 15th.
I'm guessing that's when people in America have to do their taxes, I think.
Undisputed heavyweight champion. Well, if it's undisputed, what's all the fighting about? It's the quiet ones you gotta watch. You know that one, huh? Every time you see a story about a serial killer on TV, what do? They bring on the neighbor. And the neighbor says, well, he was always very quiet. And someone in the room says, it's the quiet ones you gotta watch. This sounds to me like a very dangerous assumption. I will bet you anything that while you're watching a quiet one, a noisy one will fucking kill you. Suppose you're in a bar and one guy's sitting over on the side reading a book, not bothering anybody. Another guy standing up at the front with a machete, banging it on the bar, saying, I'll kill the next motherfucker who comes in here. Who are you gonna watch?
I mean, he does have a point there. However, you know, usually, you know, the killers are like the ones that are like, you know, quite covert. You know, you can't really detect what they're about to do until they do it. I don't know. I wish I was a detective or something.
Goddamn right. Lock them up and throw away the key. This is really stupid. Where are you going to throw the key? Right out in front of the jail? His friends will find it. How far can you throw a key? 50, 60 feet the most. Even if you lay it flat on its side like that and you scale it, what do you get? An extra 10 feet, tops. This is a stupid idea, needs to be completely rethought. Down the tubes. Hear that one a lot. People say, the country is going down the tubes. What tubes? Have you seen any tubes? Where are these tubes? And where do they go? And how come there's more than one tube? It would seem...
What does that mean, the tubes? Down the toilet? Like the toilet pipe? Is that what is meant by that? I guess so.
To me, one country, one tube. What, does every state all of a sudden have to have its own tube now? One tube is all you need. What, a tube that big? Somebody would have seen it by now. Somebody would have said, hey, Joey, look at the fucking tube. Big ass fucking tube over here. You never hear that. You know why? No tubes. We don't have tube one. We are essentially tubeless. Takes the cake. You know, say, boy, he really takes the cake. Where? Where do you take a cake? To the movies? You know where I would take a cake? Down to the bakery to see the other cakes.
I'd love to know where these sayings actually originated from. Like, what's the history? You know, takes the cake. Well, I'm guessing steals the cake. Like, you know, the person like is a thief or something like that. Like, where does it come from?
And how come he takes the cake? How come he don't take the pie? Pie is easier to carry than the cake. Easy as pie. Hey, wait. Cake is not too hard to carry either. Piece of cake.
Come to think of it, there are a lot of sayings with cake in it. Takes the cake, he wants to eat his cake and have it.
The greatest thing since sliced bread. So this is it, huh, folks? Couple of 100,000 years. The fucking pyramids, for Christ's sakes. Panama Canal, the Great Wall of China. Even a lava lamp. To me, is greater than sliced bread. What's so great about sliced bread? You got a knife, you got a loaf of bread, slice the fucking thing! And get on with your life. Out walking the streets. You know, guy gets a parole. They say, now instead of being in prison, this guy is out walking the streets. How do we know? Maybe the guy's home banging the babysitter. Not everybody gets a parole is out walking the fucking streets.
Just walking around.
A lot of times they steal a car, you know. And we ought to be glad. Thank God he stole a car. At least he's not out walking the streets. Fine and dandy. That's an old-fashioned one, isn't it? Yeah. Say to a guy, how are you? He says, fine and dandy. Not me. I never say that. You know how come? Because I'm never both of those things at the same time. Sometimes I'm...
But don't they mean the same thing, though? Dandy. Doesn't that just mean, like, happy? And if you're fine... I guess if you're fine, you're not really happy. You're kind of just in the middle.
Fine, not dandy. Close to dandy.
But not quite.
Approaching dandy. In the vicinity of dandyhood. Not quite fully dandy. Other times, I am indeed highly dandy.
That face.
However, not fine. One time, 1965, August, for about an hour. I was both fine and dandy at the same time. But nobody asked me how I was. And I could have told him. I could have told him.
There's nobody like him, really, man. There's no one like him. Like, who is Jim Gaffigan? Maybe not really. Like who are your favorite comedians at the moment, guys? Let me know your top 5, because I need some new material to watch.
I could have said to the person, fine and dandy. I consider it a lost opportunity. Walking papers. You know, guy gets fired. You say, geez, poor guy. Well, they give him his walking papers today. Did you ever get any walking papers? Seriously? Believe me, in my life, I got fired a lot of times. You can tell. Never got any walking papers. Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, here you don't get walking papers. Like, you get let go maybe via email or a letter, or, you know, and then about a month later after you've been fired, you get sent a P45, which is basically just like a tally of all the money that you've made from that job, all the taxes you've paid, just so that you can give that to your next employer, so they've got your right tax code. But yeah, you don't really get walking papers here.
You don't need paper for that. It's like the Riot Act. The Riot Act. They keep telling you they're going to read that to you. Have you heard this thing at all? Especially when you're a kid, they threaten you. You wait till your father comes home, he's going to read you the Riot Act. Tell him I already read it myself. And I didn't like it either. I consider it wordy and poorly thought out. He wants to read me something. How about the Gentleman's Guide to the Golden Age of Blowjobs? More than happy. I bet you say that sometimes, don't you? Once in a while, you say to somebody, oh, I'd be more than happy to do that. How can you be more than happy? To me, this sounds like a dangerous mental condition. We had to put Dave in the mental home. He was more than happy. One more of these. In your own words. People say that to you. You know, when you hear that a lot in a classroom or in a courtroom, they'll say to you, tell us in your own words. Do you have your own words? Hey, I'm using the ones everybody else has been using. Next time they tell you to say something in your own words, say, Nick flat blarney quando flu.
He's so right, man. Like, those sayings, they just make no sense. But then again, maybe when they were first used, maybe they made perfect sense. Maybe like, you know, when like people that like say he wants to eat his cake and have it. Maybe back in the day, people literally tried to, you know, eat their cake and have it. There must be some reason why that choice of words, you know, was grouped together and became a saying. Like, it's crazy how these kind of phrases, they start and then they just stay and they become popular. I find this sort of stuff fascinating. Rest in peace, George Carlin, man. He was one of a kind. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.